Hey everyone, it's Sarah from East Coast Wild Foods. I'm here at Chit Chat Chop, episode 63. We're going live in a few minutes. We're going to be cooking up some nice wild mushroom soups. This beautiful kitchen here. Stay tuned.
On my way home I saw full moons, new moons, half moons and stars. I waved at the drivers in the other cars. Cruised through cities, crossed state lines. Watched the sunset, watched it rise. Said hellos and I said goodbyes. On my way home, on my way home. On my way home I hit roadblocks, detours, ran out of fuel. My tires lost tread and they blew off the wheel. I tried to follow the signs and head the right way, but I swerved across lines and I went astray. I kept on going for another day.
What's up, everybody? Episode 63 of Chit Chat Chop. Your host, Andrew Farrell, here with Sarah DePolonia from East Coast Wild Foods. Thanks so much for coming on. Is that a fake laugh or a fake, not laugh, crowd noise? I thought you had an actual crowd sound effect. That would have been great. We have a studio audience of 50 here today. People at home have no idea. We can say whatever. But today we are going to make some awesome stuff using something that, I don't know if I call this foraging, but I dug these up out of my backyard. These are Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes.
Yeah.
Have you seen these in the wild?
Well, not in the wild. Normally they're garden escapes.
Garden escapes.
Wild, but yeah, definitely.
I like that term. They escaped from my garden, so
You're in the bowl.
Exactly. Anyway, these are great. They're going to make an amazing soup with some awesome forage ingredients that Sarah's brought along that we can sort of use to accent the soup. And it's going to be, I'd almost venture to say it's a 100-mile soup we're going to make here.
Yeah, I would say, if not even closer.
All right, let's narrow that down. And let's not say mile. Let's say it's 50 kilometers.
50 kilometers, yeah.
Yeah, 50 kilometer soup. I just named it. There we go.
I can attest.
It's our 50 kilometer
That's
soup
it.
today. That's it. So awesome. Well, why don't we get this going, and then we'll talk about some of the great things you find out and about, and how you come across them,
Okay.
and how you've learned all you have about them. But first of all, why don't you get started? Look at this beautiful Jerusalem artichoke. I'm just so happy with the size of this.
That is beautiful.
If you want to, here, I'll give you a...
Maybe we can tell people what sunchokes are. Do people know?
You're the perfect person to
All
tell.
right.
Yeah,
well,
sunchokes.
Sunchoke, so it looks like a ginger root. I don't know, when I first came in here, I was like, whoa, those are some massive gingers. But yeah, it's a root, it's a rhizome off of the Jerusalem artichoke, which is in the sunflower family. So it's got these really beautiful yellow flowers that you've probably seen.
They're like 10 feet high in my backyard. They were
super
great.
tall, kind of like a sunflower there. And yeah, I remember my dad last summer, I was visiting him, he was like, these flowers, they're everywhere. They just keep spreading and taking over my garden. I can't get rid of them. And I was like, Dad, you can eat them. Like, just
get rid of them by eating
the weeds.
them.
Yeah. So what did you do to get these?
I planted them last year and then I forgot about them.
Perfect.
Perfect. They're the perfect vegetable to grow. They're amazing.
Don't do anything.
So yeah, I planted one plant last year, and it was like I planted it in September, and I still got some roots off of it. And then that sprung into probably at least 8 big shoots in my garden this year. So I brought maybe a quarter of what I have yet to dig up.
Food is free.
Food is free. Food is free.
So what do you want me to do? Chop it up?
So why don't you just chop up into little discs so they'll cook fairly quickly. And I'm going to cut up an onion to fry up while you're doing that. And I'll just load you up with a few of these Jerusalem artichokes. We used to think we were really cool in the kitchen because we called them J-chokes all the time.
J-chokes.
J-chokes. Got any J-chokes? Adam.
Addie's watching, and she said she loves those.
They're so good.
Shoot, I dropped a J-choke.
J-choke on the
down.
floor.
J-choke
Don't
down.
worry, we are not going to use that. That is not going in the recipe. So in the pot, I just have a little bit of butter and oil hot because we want that nice nutty butter to brown up a bit. And I'm just going to throw in half an onion here because our onions, that's a quarter of an onion. These are huge. Giant onions.
Did you grow those ones, Andrew?
I did not grow these. Although I would love to grow some onions.
Yeah.
And garlic. I love garlic and getting the garlic scapes.
Oh,
and homegrown garlic, you can't.
Oh man.
Oh, you can't beat it.
So many different varieties too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's wicked.
It's awesome.
We have Sarah from Dashboard Living is on.
Hey Sarah, how you doing? Welcome aboard. Jerusalem artichoke soup on the go. 50 kilometer soup.
Yeah.
So I just add a little bit of salt and pepper to the pot here, and I'm going to crank up the heat. And we've got an awesome amount of ingredients we're going to put in this. I've got some lemons because these guys, I don't know if you can see this at home. Here's a nice cross section of it. It's almost like a potato and a chestnut met underground and came up with this.
Can you eat the suckers raw or no?
You can, but you're risking. Well, there's enough.
Starchy? Would they be
They're
like
starchy.
kind of like a potato?
They create gas. They promote gas.
Yeah. So maybe not
Yeah.
the best
Oh,
thing
really?
in one
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to
shot.
be nice
I've-
right now.
yeah.
I'm trying to watch what
Other
you're
than saying
saying.
fartichoke, I don't think there's much I could have done. So that's Ginger's fault.
That's what Patty highlights that.
So
Stay classy.
stay classy. Anyway, if you got Beano around, just pop one of those. You're good to go. Anyway, they're delicious, and
But you wouldn't put it in your crudité.
I wouldn't put it in my crudité. Don't serve them raw unless you're not a fan of the people. You know,
Slip a couple in.
I didn't promote it. It's fine. Cool. All right, let's get these
Want me
in.
to throw those in?
Yeah, throw them right in.
All right.
And I'll just stir this around here. Perfect. It's gonna be so good. And you also brought some wicked little chanterelles that you tried out.
Yeah, I did. So in Nova Scotia, we're blessed to have an abundance of wild mushrooms, like loads of different species. Some of them are edible, some are edible only once. So you don't want to know what you're picking, but these are golden chanterelles, and these usually fruit.
I greased up the bag earlier. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Well, they're super tasty. They've got like a almost like a fruity, like apricot kind of
Yep.
flavor, like a deep, rich, like umami flavor to them. And yeah, these fruit like in conifer forests here in Nova Scotia. You get them July, August, maybe even into September if
Yep.
you're lucky. It all depends on the weather conditions, humidity, rainfall,
Yep.
the forest health, and everything. But yeah, they're super abundant here if you're looking in the right spot.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you. Are you going to tell us your favorite chanterelle spot?
No. That's a secret.
That's one
It's like a
thing.
magician. You never
Yeah.
ask them how they do the
Right?
trick.
Well,
You
Patty,
never ask a
yeah.
forager their spot.
Right, exactly. Well, I was going to say one thing. I don't miss much about my days in the restaurant industry. Loved it. It was great. But I've had a sort of a new perspective working, kitchen door here now, and it was funny the amount of people that would parade through the back door trying to sell chanterelles when the season hit. It
Yeah.
was like somebody knew a guy who knew a guy, or they'd swing in. That's how I met you,
Wanna buy
probably.
some mushrooms?
Right? I think I met you 3 or 4 years ago, and
Yeah,
you
I think
came in the
I
back.
came by and I was like, hey, do you want to buy some mushrooms?
Yeah, and I think I got sea asparagus and all
That's
kinds
it.
of good stuff. Yeah, so foragers are like nature's dealer.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
Nature's dealer.
That's a good
You can have that one. Yeah, that's good.
Perfect.
Nature's dealer. That's amazing. So yeah, these are. I'm trying to get a little bit of color on these right here, so they're a little pale right now, as you can see. But it definitely has almost the translucency of a chestnut, but
Yeah.
then it's slightly starchy like a potato when it goes together. So it's gonna blitz together in our soup perfectly.
So like you would cook these exactly as you would a potato.
In this case, yeah, I would,
Yeah.
and they're even great as a chip too, like deep fried. You get a little pan on the stove, deep fried some little Jerusalem artichoke chips. They're
Yeah,
awesome. J-chokes. Exactly. And the chanterelles you gave me, I've gotten this beautiful chicken stock I made the other day. So they just sort of steeped in here for about an hour, so the flavors come out, and then we're going to puree it right into the soup too.
Wicked, yeah.
It is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I dry a lot of mushrooms just to kind of like preserve them, have them over winter and everything, and they keep better. And then, like you said, it's just you pop them in like a stock, or even just let them rehydrate.
Yep.
Super easy to use. Use them for like
So
whatever.
if somebody wanted to dry their own mushrooms at home, say they're out in the woods, they had the guidebook, or they
Yeah.
had a guide like you to show them what to pick,
Yeah.
how would you dry those at home? What's your
Well,
process?
first you want to pick them really clean, because then you're not dealing with like a bunch of dirt and like all kinds of like, I don't know, moss and leaves and stuff. So you want to pick clean, and then it's just easy to dry. I dry chanterelles whole, have them on like a big screen, dry them in the sun, and they absorb more vitamin D. And then I finish them in a dehydrator to make sure they're totally
Oh, okay.
dry, and then store them in like an airtight container, and you'll have shrooms for days.
Nice. Shrooms for days.
Nature's dealers.
Nature's dealers.
I love it.
That's so great. That's so great. Have you ever pickled them? I guess that was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
'cause
That's another
yeah.
way to preserve them. We are doing this like old Italian recipes. Basically, just taking the chanterelles or any kind of mushroom and making a conserva in olive oil.
Oh,
We
cool,
added, this is an old family recipe, we added garlic, chili, mint, and that's it. And
Mint, that's really cool. I like
yeah, a couple sprigs of mint, and they're super good. They're like really like rich and flavorful, and then you can use the oil as well.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
great.
they're tasty. But you could do them in like vinegar, like as you were like pickling or whatever. Really, you just kind of like let your imagination roll.
Well, they're so spongy. They're such a great vehicle for absorbing flavor. right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Ben Land said you look really good. You're looking really good, Andrew.
Hey Ben, looking right at you, buddy. You're looking good.
And Chef Rodney Cole's watching as well.
That's actually great because Ben knew me in high school. So, it's come a long way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have grown this in high school, let me tell you that. Let's put it that way.
I'll be nice right now.
Oh, Ginger's being nice. He's holding back. They're holding back off camera.
I will say that smell is delicious.
It's good. I mean, you can always get people on board if you fry onions in butter as the
Yeah.
start. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's cooking?
what's cooking? What's cooking? So what got you started in the foraging game? I know you've traveled a lot. That's something on your resume.
Yeah, I think like living in Europe really kind of like just got me interested in, I don't know, just using like wild ingredients. I mean, growing up too, like we had a garden, so I was always outside. Like, my mom would always like have a lot of like fresh vegetables and fruits and berries just from the garden. But yeah, like living over in Europe and just seeing people like, walk to the forest with a basket and come back with like a basket full of mushrooms,
Right.
like just amazing. I remember I picked up this little book. I should have brought it, but it's like a little like pocket guide that says food is free. And I was just like so fascinated with that. It's like I can just like go for a walk and like
Yeah.
identify like different plants and kind of work on my like biology and botany and also like bring home dinner. So it was great.
Yeah. It ticks a lot of boxes. That's
yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, check it out.
Wow.
This is what I wanted, right in the bottom of the pan here.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to see if Adam can get this here.
That smells so
Oh
good.
yeah. Oh, look at that. I'm getting it nice and brown on the bottom of the pot there. And then I'm gonna scrape it off with the chicken stock, and that is pure flavor.
Wow.
That's all the sugars coming out of the Jerusalem artichokes and out of the onions.
That's like when it caramelizes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do, is trying to caramelize just the initial sugars that are in that come out of the onions and, and the artichoke.
It smells amazing.
Yeah, and they get really nutty when you cook them too.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. So I think we should let it start to simmer a little bit with this.
Okay.
So what else? You offer food tours. I've seen like foraging tours.
Yeah. So that's like something that's become really popular in the last year or so. Like actually engaging with my customers and bringing them out like to the forest or to the seaside or to the field or whatever, and just pointing out like different plants and berries and seaweeds and mushrooms to folk, and people really love that. And I like it too. There's that whole saying. What is it? It's like catch a man a fish, he eats today. Teach him how to fish.
Catch,
He eats
teach,
tomorrow, something.
give a man a fish.
That's it.
Hold on. I know that they are exploding on Facebook right now.
Something like that.
Give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for his life.
That's it.
Rest
Exactly.
of
So,
a lifetime. There we go.
So if I can teach people about like what's growing here in Nova Scotia, and then next time they're on a walk or like a hike or out camping or whatever, they're like, hey, I can eat that. I know how to identify that. I know what to do with it. Like I know what it tastes like, and then that knowledge just kind of like spreads. Like I don't know, it's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
So yeah, I love like teaching people what I've learned from my teachers, and just picked up along the way and everything. And why not spread the
Cool.
love?
Yeah, all right.
So we have Louisa here from Texas. She's here every week. She's awesome.
Hey,
And
Louisa.
As I was saying, so if you're gonna go forage, say in Texas, would you have to like be different types of stuff to look for? How do you know what to pick, what not to pick?
You'd have to know how to trim a cactus.
Probably in Texas, yeah. I've never been to Texas, so I don't really know what would grow there.
What would you do in order to go there? Would you have to study to go look?
Yeah, I would. I would see if there's any like local resources. There's a lot of books on wild food and foraging. Like it's become like super popular in the last years or so. So I'm sure you could find like a local guidebook about just how to identify things and like what to do with them. There's probably even some foragers. We are like nature stealers, so we like to stay in the background, a little shady, but they're around, Louisa. They're around. So just like seek them out, and like I think the best way is going with someone else, especially with mushrooms, because there's so many like little kind of like nuances that could really mean honestly like life or death. So you want to know what you're doing and definitely know what you're picking before you eat it. But yeah, just open your eyes, stay curious, try to like identify things, books, other people.
We have a lot of
Yeah.
life or death mushrooms here.
There are, yeah, there
Yeah.
are some deadly mushrooms here in Nova Scotia. The Destroying Angel is one.
How would you know besides the name?
Right, yeah. That sounds
The
delicious.
Destroying Angel. I want to
There's
try
an app for
that.
that. Hey, it's not working. It's just a death.
Yeah, too late.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, but yeah, there are mushrooms that you want to like steer clear from. But and then like once you know, you know. I mean, you don't have to be dead to know, but like you just know like what to look for.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things I learned, I mean, I'm no expert in mushrooms, but looking underneath the cap to see the type of gills and stuff.
That's right. Yeah, and like the type of forest and environment it grows in.
The more
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. One of my friends, she's a botanist, and she told me, she's like, you're not looking for plants, you're looking for habitats and environments.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So it's like, because plants grow, I mean, they're like people, like we like to live in certain places, plants like to live in certain places. Like, I mean, you never find Labrador tea in like an open meadow or something. It likes to get its feet wet, so it's going to live in a bog, it's going to live in the forest, look at shady and stuff. So you got to look for like those kind of characteristics.
So
And
like
maybe
the
you'll find
mushrooms growing in my front lawn probably wouldn't be edible that are coming.
They could be. I mean, depends what your lawn's like. Like, I don't know.
Just
maybe
bring them
live
into
in
work,
the
see
forest.
how people react.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be fine. Or we'll just post on Instagram, should we eat this, yes or no?
Poll. Take a poll.
Yeah, it's just an Instagram poll. That's what life's down to now. It's Instagram polls, yes or no. That's awesome.
Wow,
Oh, look
that
at them
smells
coming.
so good.
All right, let's check the tenderness of our Jerusalem artichoke. These take a little bit to boil down. Let's just see if they're knife tender. That appears to be knife tender. Oh yeah. Let's keep stabbing that for the camera.
All right.
Looks good. Looks good. So we'll just let that go for another minute or two, and then
Okay.
we'll blitz it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get into all the extra toppings
Yeah.
you took to put on top of it. That's perfect. So where can people buy your forage goods, or like check you
So
out?
I'm in some like local shops here in Halifax. Noggins and Local Source was carrying some packaged mushrooms, seaweed, different like spices and teas and everything. Yeah, I want to like have a winter project to get the online shop working. So stay tuned. I'll let you know. Backdoor kitchens maybe.
Yeah.
Back alleys.
Yeah. Well, it's what you were saying earlier just reminded me of what they always used to. I learned in a kitchen a long time ago. If it grows together, it goes together.
Yeah.
So I like a little.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's like when you feed a fish a person, the fish can eat a man for a lifetime. I think.
Someone clarified that for you, so you're good to
Oh,
go.
good. You see, Facebook takes care of it. It's the democratization of information. It's fantastic. Thank you, Facebook. Wow. Well, let's set up the Vitamix because we
right.
want to give the people at home the real full sensory experience of a blender going at really high volume. Let's grab this. Scooch it over.
Do you always like blitz your soups, Andrew?
I
or-
don't always, but in this case, I just know how silky smooth Jerusalem artichokes can be.
Okay.
There's actually, pardon me, I'm coming, and I'm back. Always plug in
Magic.
your blenders before you go on camera. Yeah, so it's sort of become a Farrell family tradition at Christmas time when I go home to my folks' place in Pictou, that every Christmas I make a soup as the appetizer, as to not to compete with the turkey dinner, which, everybody's mom's turkey dinner is pretty great.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine's the best. So. But I always make a soup, and last year I grew just enough Jerusalem artichokes to make one pot of soup. This year I can make 50 liters of that soup, so it's sort of a fun tradition, and that was always a nice pureed soup, and it's so silky, and it also really lends itself well to garnishing, which is something we're going to use your other little ingredients for.
Perfect.
Yeah, so all the stuff that grows together will soon go together. Just repeat it, and it becomes a thing.
So Andrew, I have a question with putting a hot soup in a blender, because one time I did that and the
yes.
soup was on the ceiling.
Public safety announcement. Yes, you got to be very careful. I've had this happen. I've had it touch a 20-foot ceiling before in
Wow.
a kitchen.
That's impressive.
Sorry, somebody I worked with had to hit a 20-foot ceiling. So there are two things that are going to help us out a lot with making sure that our soup does not hit the ceiling when we put it in the blender in its hot form. And
Okay.
one thing is this little cap on top. So
a little bit of
this allows the
ventilation.
air to vent out, but no splatters to come out.
Okay.
I always top that off
Clever.
with a rag on top as well,
Okay.
just to hand down. But also,
Take the vent off and then the rag.
no, leave the vent on, but the rag is sort of your insurance, just in case.
Okay,
And a
okay.
little weight on the top will help.
Sorry,
Hey.
that top has a little vent area.
Yeah,
Some
so
don't.
this-
Like
some
my
don't.
blender.
So if
Yeah.
you have
Top
Ginger's
off.
blender at home,
Yeah, I just put
Daryl,
it
buy
right
our new
on.
blender. Christmas is coming up. Cyber Week is going on. Put your towel right on
Right
top
over.
and hold your hand like that,
Okay.
and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
But this could certainly not doesn't need to be pureed. Does not need to
That
be
don't
pureed.
need J-choke.
That don't need to be
pureed.
pureed. They don't need puree. So this is what am I doing here? I'm gonna put this right in here. And basically, we're going to treat it like the transmission on a car. So we're turning the
Okay.
blender into the lowest speed. The last thing is if you turn your blender on and it's accidentally in the highest speed, you're going to get it hitting the ceiling because it's just like going
Geyser.
from 0 to 60 like
Right,
that.
yeah.
So you want to like you're just merging onto the highway. You got to like go through your gears. You got to start it up.
Life tips.
Life tips. Life tips. All right, so we are putting. Look at all these little chanterelles that have been steeping in the broth.
Wow.
Oh, their flavor is going right in here.
Yum, yum.
Right in here.
What's the most common mushroom that you pick? Chanterelles.
Probably chanterelles. Yeah, here in Nova Scotia, like there's super abundant. Yeah. Definitely, I would say
Like that.
chanterelles, and they just like so prolific, and they keep producing. Like if you take care of your patch, like you can go back to it like week after week.
So is do you
weather
have like
depending.
a secret location that you like look around before you go to?
Yeah.
I've already tried. She's not telling the secret location.
You gotta follow her.
I know,
Go
right?
on one of the
Oh,
tours.
She knows all this
That's
stuff.
awesome. So you have like
Yeah.
fake tours she brings other people. To
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not.
She's
the
got a
spot.
decoy spot and then a real spot.
It's actually true.
Yes,
I love it.
I knew it. Hey, once you get a good spot, you don't give it up. I went with some friends in Advocate Harbor once, and it was like we went down one wooded trail and then took a left, and then it was just
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
If you want to know
beautiful.
that one, I can.
That's a beautiful spot, Advocate Harbor, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh.
just to go.
Well, that's where I learned Sarah and Andrew at Wild Caraway.
Yeah.
They're friends of mine, and they have an amazing restaurant and amazing terroir out there. You know,
Yeah,
they
they do.
forage all the time, and they grow stuff in the back, but everything has a sense of place.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about wild food, and I mean, it's all like local, and just get in touch with your local terroir, the environment, and like, I mean, nothing's like cultivated, so it is what it is. Like, this is what you
Yeah.
have to work with, and like, this is the flavor of the land.
Absolutely.
So if things go south, she's the lady we need to stick with because she knows what we can eat again.
Exactly.
If we ever come
Exactly.
To
Her resources will be needed.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Post zombie apocalypse.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of my friends, they say that. They're like, when the zombie apocalypse hits, like, we're coming to you. 'cause
We need a
you'll survive.
generator, we need water, and we need
Yeah,
Sarah.
I mean Sarah. In demand. So another great reason to give Sarah a call between May and November and get her to show you all the hot spots
Yeah.
and everything that goes around.
Survive that zombie
Survive-
apocalypse.
Survive that apocalypse. So I've just zested a lemon, and I'm going to put the zest in here.
Okay.
And actually, Sarah, if you could, I'm just going to cut this in half here. I'm going to squeeze the juice right in the blender. Oops, making lots of noise. There you go.
So I should do that. We have a Chef Rodney Cole's asked a question about,
Ooh.
you don't want to give out your secrets of where to get chanterelle mushrooms, but where would a textbook, quote unquote textbook area be to look for them? What do you need to look for?
Yeah, so chanterelles, they'll be growing usually most often in conifer forests, and you're looking for mature forests about 20, 30 years. So conifers, that would be like spruce or fir. You want to look for the forest floor like covered in moss almost, so a really nice healthy layer of moss. The forest has to be healthy because then that's kind of like indicative of the health of the whole ecosystem. So you want to look for, shady, but not totally like dense and dark. You still want to have some like spacing between the trees. Obviously, like you wouldn't look into it in a tree farm because maybe they're spraying or something like that. So just like a natural conifer forest that looks healthy. I mean, sometimes I've even seen them like just trail side, like walking in a trail, but there's always conifers around. Like you'll never find them growing at the base of a hardwood tree or anything like that. So they do have an association with conifer trees.
It's like back to grade 5, man.
Yeah, I know.
Versus what and what?
I'm realizing I know the difference, and I didn't know I knew the difference, but it was because of grade 5. So
What is it?
got that
What are the
lemon.
different
You want the
forests?
second one?
Yeah, put the other half
Seriously,
in
you know
too.
them?
What's that?
Difference, conifer, what are they?
Like pine trees and
Oh,
spruce. And
conifers, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Like they have like cones, so like they're everything that they keep their needles in
Okay, yeah,
the
they're the
winter.
permanent,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like pine. Well, you wouldn't find a lot of mushrooms don't associate with pine, so you're not really looking in
Ooh.
like pine forest.
We're narrowing
Other
down.
than-
We're narrowing down the mushrooms.
Here, that's here in Nova Scotia. But yeah, like spruce, fir, pine.
And like,
yeah,
what about weather
hemlock.
conditions? So like, if it like a day or two after the rain. Or...
Also, yeah, I find like it's best to pick mushrooms like not the day immediately after rain because they get like too soggy and
Yeah.
wet. But like maybe like 2 days after a good rain, you want to have a lot of humidity. So you're looking for like the different weather conditions for sure. Like I keep a logbook. This is one of my mentors. He told me to do this. He was like, keep a logbook, and so mark down where and like just record like your surroundings. Take like the temperature, the humidity, even. So all of that like has a factors into whether or not you'll find some mushrooms.
Cool.
How's that
Cool.
look?
So like
That looks awesome.
I bet you Newfoundland's probably got
Oh,
some great
loaded.
Oh, Newfoundland's amazing.
Yeah.
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 I grew up on.
moss deciduous. Is that what it is?
Oh yeah, moss. Yeah, my grandfather used to go and pick like wild strawberries, and just like spend
nice.
hours out in the field picking them and like
delicious.
make 2 bottles of jam. But it was the best jam. Oh, I'm gonna put just like about a clove of garlic in here too, just to
Hey.
give it a little.
Is there a season that you wouldn't really entertain picking? I mean, obviously we have winter here, but if there isn't snow, could you still find me or no?
No, they in Nova Scotia they only fruit. So like mushrooms are kind of like fruit trees. So you have like the mycelium that's all under the forest floor,
Okay.
and that's like the forest network. So they communicate, they form relationships with different tree species, and then given the right conditions, they'll fruit. And the mushrooms are actually the fruit of the whole
Love it, didn't
organism.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the way of thinking of the forest as a total thing. You know,
It
it's not
is,
just
it's an ecosystem,
It's
yeah,
like the whole ecosystem
absolutely.
comes together to.
Yeah. I think people often forget that, but
Yeah.
like it's everything, like the birds, the insects, and like the bacteria,
Yeah.
the fungi, like it's all we're all
That's
one.
awesome.
That's
We're
great.
all one, Andrew.
I'm a fun guy.
Oh
Ah!
my gosh.
I had.
Chef here.
Hey, Chef
Just in
Ellen.
time for that joke.
Just in time. Saved it for you. So what well, let's just make this soup because it's
Okay.
gonna be good. So a little chefy trick here.
Yeah.
Since we have a super duper high speed blender here, cold butter is going to finish this soup.
Butter.
It's going to make it silky, velvety, and it's basically you imagine that super high speed propeller is getting butter in between every little Jerusalem artichoke particle, and it's going to be.
Yum yum
What
yum.
a color on that soup though.
Oh yeah, and yeah. I made a nice little chicken stock that's brown, and then the Jerusalem artichokes and onions got fried up. That's brown. It's
Do you have any
all-
secrets to your chicken stock, or that you would share? Or?
Well, yeah, really heavily. If you're ever making chicken stock at home, like this was actually, I had 2 chickens I had to roast for an event we did here at Kitchen Door. So I spatchcocked them. So I basically cut down the spine on either side, took that away, cut off the wingtips, and trimmed it up a little bit more. And I just took those bits, roasted them in the oven until they were super, super dark brown, like
Oh,
way
wow.
beyond what you'd think. Not
Huh.
burned, but just like at 325 degrees, so they were super dark brown.
Yeah.
And then I did
That's
just
what
put a
gives
layer
you
of
color.
onion, celery, carrot, and a little bit of garlic underneath that. Simmered it for 2 or 3 hours, and we got a liter of nice chicken
Yeah.
stock. So even the trim off of
Wow.
2 chickens gives you a liter of super concentrated, delicious chicken stock.
Nice.
Yes. So let's blend.
Let's do it.
How about you do the? Do you trust me? You trust me?
2-hand trust.
All right.
All
Will
right.
it blend? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Will it
Yeah.
blend?
Will it blend?
Vitamix.
Well, the
You
thing
got
is, there's a
this.
switch on the side I keep forgetting about.
There we go.
This is
Yeah.
our
So-
fancy bite.
All right, we're ramping up. We're getting on the highway here.
Merging.
Merging, merging, and
Ship.
yeah, highway speed. And you see all those little bits. It's gonna be. All right, give me a countdown on Facebook. 15 seconds. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bingo.
Bingo. Beautiful beautifully pureed
Wow.
Jerusalem artichoke
That's
soup.
like a milkshake, Andrew.
It's a milkshake only with butter instead of milk.
But if you're gonna
Butter
puree,
shake.
puree it.
If you're gonna puree it, because
Yeah.
otherwise there's no point unless you get that velvety texture.
Right.
Now you don't need a super high-speed blender to do it. I actually
Wow,
have
that
had really
sounds
good
so
results with
good.
my friendly stick blender right here. This thing works wonders. You can just stick it right in the pot on the stove. It takes more than 15 seconds, but you'll get there with it.
Especially if you don't have room to store some of those things in your store.
Absolutely.
Those things are great.
They're so. I love multi-purpose kitchen gadgets,
Yeah.
so it's important to prioritize what you can. Let's give it a little chefy taste of the blender. See if we need to tweak the
Alright.
seasoning. Very important
Is
to tweak.
there a way to do this, or just?
Yeah, just spoon it out.
Oh man, that's so good.
I don't want to do anything else to that.
Oh,
Seasoning everything, it's kind of spot
I
on.
think that kind of
Did you do your burr in there already?
the butter's in there already. The lemon is just. I think that's the right amount of
perfect.
lemon.
Yeah.
You always want to use a little bit of citrus with Jerusalem artichoke because
Wow.
it cuts through the starchiness, and it also keeps the color because it will go brown as the oxygen gets to it. So
right.
a
Yeah.
little bit. It's just like an apple in that way.
Oh, that's so
So-
good.
Frozen, beautiful to freeze that.
Yeah,
pull
beautiful.
it out.
Yeah, this would be a great.
So you
I've done it before. Yeah.
So you could do when artichokes are in season, we could freeze it, pull it out when we want it, and we're
Yeah.
good to go. We've had beautiful Chanterelles in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get,
I love that everything's in there
Yeah.
too. You know.
Yeah, we
like
got the
you
mushrooms, that chicken.
Yeah, just all pureed, and you're getting like a
Yeah.
full like macro soup.
Totally. Macro soup. We're having fun with terms today. So, well, let's present this for the
Yeah.
people.
All right.
All right, so I'm just going to make a little room here.
So do you think
Comes
this is
off
what
the
you're
side.
doing for Christmas, Chef?
This is definitely what I'm doing for Christmas.
Yeah.
Definitely. And chef friends, if you know me, you're probably going to get a little basket of Jerusalem artichokes on your doorstep. So, yeah, you're welcome. So this is the great thing about making a soup in a blender. You can just pour it right into your plate. So we're going to use this nice little bowl here. Oh, velvety.
Wow. Yeah. It's really got a nice like consistency to it.
It's beautiful. And so you brought this moss with you. Tell me about the moss.
So this is caribou moss. It's not actually a moss, it's a lichen. So a lichen is it's a symbiotic relationship between algae and bacteria, and this is also super abundant in Nova Scotia and northern Canada as well. It's not really like, I mean, I wouldn't just eat caribou moss. It's more like for garnishing. It
And you
looks
roasted
super
this, right?
pretty. Yeah, so this I roasted and then I added some paprika with it, so it's got like a little nice like flavor to it, and it crisps up really
Yeah.
nice, and it makes this beautiful like presentation, just like a forest cloud almost.
Oh,
There's-
so cool.
yeah,
Yeah, I love it as a garnish. And then this spice mix. Tell me about this.
So
This is-
this I was inspired when I was in Japan. This is a gomasio that I've made
Gomasio.
with nori seaweed, which grows abundantly here in
Mm-hmm.
Nova Scotia. I harvest this along the Bay of Fundy, and it's like, you know, if you see those like sushi sheets, nori,
Yep.
this is the same seaweed, but it grows everywhere here.
Mm.
So I harvest that from the Bay of Fundy, and then I've dried it and I fried it and blended it with some toasted sesame seeds and also sea parsley, which is another
Oh,
herb
great.
that grows like all along the coast here in Nova Scotia. So it's like, yeah, really flavorful. You get
Yeah.
all that like umami flavor
Yeah.
and like
well, there's a lot. I was
roasted
reading about
nuts.
seaweed actually. They've got glutamates. That's
That's it.
those are the things that
natural MSG. You know,
Natural,
it's like
yeah.
glutamate.
MSG is not bad. Our body craves it.
Yeah.
So I just tasted a little. That is delicious.
Isn't it good?
The,
You get
the
that.
caribou moss, yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice and crunchy,
Yeah.
and
Love it.
I really like frying that up, and then like you can just like flash fry it, and then season it with, I don't know, like ramp powder or like mushroom powder or something with like a lot of flavor, and
Delicious.
yeah,
Awesome.
It's
And because I'm a
so
chef, I
good.
can't resist just a little bit of green. So here's the contrast
color.
between the foraged and the farmed.
amazing.
A little bit of the green herb on top.
Amazing.
So
beautiful.
let's try it out with all the
Yeah.
stuff. Now let me just give that a little wipe for the camera. That's not hot anymore. All right. And
Oh, yeah,
I
get
think
my
that's your
spoon.
spoon right there. Perfect. All right. Cheers to the spoons first of all.
Cheers.
All right, 50-kilometer soup with Jerusalem artichokes. What's that called again?
Caribou moss.
Caribou moss. I almost said reindeer moss.
That's another type of lichen, but
Rice
yeah, yeah.
Caribou moss. This beautiful seaweed and sesame seed powder, and then some fresh herbs. Let's go. Get it all on
Whole
the spoon
thing,
here.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Andrew, I have. Oh, I'll wait for you to do that.
Oh man.
Wow.
So you're gonna bring all those applications for Christmas?
Yeah.
I'm like transported to where
That's awesome.
I picked those mushrooms.
I'm sitting on the forest floor right now having a bowl of soup.
Seriously, like
Yeah.
that, like it's like the aromas and the flavors and
That's
oh
so
my-
cool. Yeah,
Wanting
if
more.
you're not in studio, I'm sorry, folks, you're missing out on this sensory experience.
really
But it
good.
is. I mean, I made it, but it's really good.
We have hi Andrew, it's Melissa and Robbie.
Hi, Melissa and Robbie.
Where
How you
do your
doing?
non-chef friends get their Jerusalem artichokes?
Oh well.
Call outs.
You coming through Halifax? Give me a call. You're not far. You're not far.
This is really good.
Saying hello from Boston. He's down doing the tree.
Oh, tree lighting. Cool.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. That's a cool
Yum.
spot. Have a slice of Boston cream pie for me.
Or you gotta go to that where they make those Mike's. He makes cannolis. Oh my god, the best. You ever been there?
No, but I mean, I love cannolis.
You gotta get a cannoli from Mike.
All right.
So good.
Yeah. That was just there last year.
Were you really?
We went around the rest of Boston
The lineup was
carrying the thing.
Yeah, like
Oh,
out the door, around the corner.
So
So,
cool.
good.
Awesome.
I can't stop scooping soup here. But
I'm gonna make that. I gotta get some sunchokes from you.
all right.
Put me on your
talk.
list.
I have no sunchokes to spare.
Let's finish on this camp. Finish here.
All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us for episode 63 of Chit Chat Shop. Here with Sarah DePolonia from East Coast Wild Foods. We made a 50-kilometer soup. Again, I am Chef Andrew, and next week, episode 64, I'm going to be here with Patty, and we've got a fantastic guest. Who is Ellie Black, who is an amazing swimmer, and we are going to do some really cool meal prep ideas. Gymnast. Oh, you did a swimming thing back. If you had only seen what Adam.
What do you want me to do?
Ellie, I know you're a gymnast. Adam was behind the camera doing this.
No. She's only how about
Adam can do the worm. He's acrobatic. He could have done a cartwheel. I mean, Ellie Black, I'm sorry. We're going to be happy to have you next week. I'm sure she can swim too.
I'm sure she can.
So on that note, I don't know what camera we're on. I'm just going. It's this one. Anyway, thanks so much. Andrew, Sarah DePolonia.
Yeah, thanks for
Episode
having me.
63, Chit Chat Shop. See you later, everybody. Thanks.
Good show.